Hey everyone, today I wanted to take a few minutes to show you how to use KeySAV for Pokemon X and Y. For those who don't know, KeySAV is a program created by KeyFodix and Omega Donut on projectpokemon.org, and it allows you to export a box of your eggs or Pokemon and view all the data relating to them. For eggs, you can see which Pokemon is in the egg, what its IVs are, nature, ability, and most importantly, its egg shiny value. KeySAV also has an option to let you check any trainer's trainer shiny value, but more to come on that. Before we start, let's go over the prerequisites. First, obviously you need a copy of Pokemon X or Y, either a digital version or a cartridge version. If you have a cartridge version, you will also require a power saves device to allow you to back your save file up to your computer. If you have a digital version, all you need is a PC with an SD card reader, as you'll be taking your SD card from your 3DS and putting it in your PC. And you also should be familiar with the process of backing up your save file to your PC. So let's get started. Here we are on the Project Pokemon KeySAV page, the link to which is in the description at the bottom of the video. And if we scroll down on the page, there is a basic tutorial here, which you can follow along with if you want, but this video is going to cover all of those steps. What we're looking for is in attached files right here, there's a keysave.zip. Click on that file to download the KeySAV zip, and I've already downloaded it. I put it on my desktop just to find it, just to keep things simple. Right click on it, and you're going to extract the files in the same location. So right here you see I've created, that automatically created a KeySAV folder. And I'm going to delete that keysave.zip because we don't need that anymore. Open up KeySAV and you'll see that the only thing in there is just a KeySAV executable file. Pretty basic. It has two tabs, box breaker, which is what we need to use initially to break the encryption on our game, and then the box ripping tab, which is what we need in a later step. So before we can get started anything with KeySAV, the first thing you need to do is go into Pokemon X and Y, load up your save file, go into the PC, and empty boxes 1 and 2 so that they're completely empty. Once they're completely empty, you need to put 6 Pokemon in the top row of box 1, which you personally have hatched or caught yourself. So double check the summary page on each of them to make sure you are listed as the original trainer. This will only work if you are the original trainer of all 6 Pokemon. So again, to summarize, box 1 and 2 should be completely empty, and then in the top row of box 1, you should have 6 Pokemon across the top, each of which you have personally caught or hatched yourself. Once you have that, save your game, then do what's called a hard reset. That means hold the power button on your 3DS until it takes you to the black screen, the black home screen, and then instead of pressing the home key, hold the power button again to completely power off the device. Once it's completely off, turn it back on, reload your game. Once your game's reloaded, immediately do another save. It seems redundant, but it's important that you do this save, hard reset, and save again in order for this to work correctly. So once you've saved again, then fully power off your 3DS again. At this point, it's time to export. It's time to do a backup of your save to your PC. So if you are if you're a cartridge user, cartridge copy of Pokemon X or Y user, you need to use your power saves device to do your backup. If you are a digital user, you need to take your SD card, put it in your PC, and back up your save that way as well. So regardless of which method you're using, you're going to want to grab your save backup, which I have here. This is my current, I'm using a digital version, so this is my save that's on my SD card. You're going to copy it. Don't cut it. Don't delete it. You're just going to do a copy and then paste it in your KeySAV folder. Paste. And you can see the file name is 00000001. Once it's in the KeySAV folder, you're safe to rename it, but it's very important if you're a digital user, do not rename it on the SD card. And I'm just going to rename it as first to remind me it's the save file which contains my 6 Pokemon in the first box. So I've named it first. At this point, once you have the save backed up, you need to reload your game. Make sure if you're a digital user, you've put your SD card back in your DS. Reload your game, go back to the PC, and then those 6 Pokemon which were in the top of box 1, you're going to move them to the top of box 2. So once you've moved them to the top of box 2, you're going to do the same process as before. You're going to save your game. You're going to do a hard reset, completely power off your device, and then you're going to reload your game, and you're going to save it again. Now just bear with me one moment, because I'm doing this these steps on my DS as well. Right now I'm moving from top row of box 1 to top row of box 2. I'm exiting my game. And by the way, I do apologize. I'm not able to show you what's happening on my DS right now. Just sharing my screen. But I think it should be pretty straightforward to follow along. So I've moved my Pokemon to the top of box 2. I've done a save. I've hard resetted. Now I'm just reloading my save again. This part takes a couple minutes because you got to wait for it to completely power down, wait for it to reload up, get back into your game. So now I'm reloading for the second time, and I'm going to do that second save. And then once we have that second save done, you're going to power off your device fully again, and you're going to do another backup. So at this point, you'll have 2 save files to work with. So what I'm doing now is I've done my second backup, or I've done my second save. I'm putting my SD card, since I'm a digital user, I'm putting my SD card back in my computer. Here again, the file name is that 000, all those zeros and a 1. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it into my KeySAV folder. Oops. I'm going to try again, copy it, paste it. Now you can see I have 2, and once it's in the KeySAV folder, you're safe to rename it. This time I'm going to rename it second. This just helps me keep track of which file has my Pokemon in slot in box 1 and which Pokemon are in box 2. Now we're going to go over to the KeySAV program that I showed you a minute ago. So right here, and make sure you're on the box breaker tab. So what we need to do now is break the encryption on our game, because each copy of Pokemon X and Y has its own unique encryption that needs to be broken before we can start examining the contents of our boxes. So, under Box Breaker tab, open Save 1. You might think to load your first save, but actually, open Save 1 means open your second save. And if you actually look at the note here, it says Save 1 should be where box 1 is empty and box 2 has the first 6 and the rest is empty. So it's a little bit in reverse here. This is the part most people get hung up on when they start getting errors, is that they're doing the saves in the wrong order. So open Save 1 actually refers to your second save, so I'm going to pick second. And then open Save 2 is actually your first save. I'm going to click open on the first. Now you can see I've referenced here my second save and my first save. And then we're going to click the break button. If you followed all the steps correctly, you'll get this message. Key streams were successfully brute forced, dumping enabled, and now these 3 buttons have lit up. Next step is to click each of these 3 buttons. So we'll start with K1. This file is actually the key stream for what box 1 looks like when it's completely empty. So when you click K1, it prompts you to save the file, and you want to make sure you're still in your KeySAV folder. And I wouldn't change the name, just leave it as key-box1.bin. Click Save. You can see it's created the file over here on the left. We'll do the same thing for K2. Key-box2.bin. I'm not going to rename it. Save. And then blank. This generates the blank.ekx file, which is also required for KeySAV to work properly. So now you'll see in our KeySAV folder, we have a few new files. We have those 2 new files with the key streams, and then we also have this blank.ekx folder. Up to this point, everything you've done is just a one-time only step. This was all we needed to do to break the encryption. Now, the rest of this is going to be how do we actually view data in our boxes. So now take a moment, load your game back up. Make sure if you're a digital user, again, you put that SD card back in your 3DS. Load your game back up, and go ahead and put, we'll just use box 1 as an example for now. You fill up box 1 with all the eggs or Pokemon you'd like to check. So for me, I'm going into my box 1 now. I'm going to fill it up with a box full of eggs. I already have a box of eggs I bred earlier. I'm not really sure what's in them, so I'm going to take a look at those. So you go ahead and do the same, and make sure they all go in box 1. Once they're in box 1, you're going to save your game. So do a regular save. And then you no longer need to do a hard reset. Some of the instructions you might see out there say you always have to do a hard reset. It's actually not the case. So once you save, then just immediately save again. So you're going to save twice in a row. Once you've saved twice in a row, power off your 3DS completely. And you're going to back up. You're going to do a third backup of your save. And actually, I should point out at this point, those first two backups you did, the first .save and the second .save, you can delete those now. Those were only needed to break your encryption. So I'm actually going to delete these just so it doesn't get confusing. So those are no longer required. The only files you require right now are the blank EKX folder or file, and then the key stream for whatever box you want to check. So in this case, we can check boxes 1 and 2 separately. We're going to focus on box 1. So now that I've saved my game twice, I'm going to back up my save. I'm going to paste it in my KeySAV folder. At this point, I don't think it's really important to rename the save file. I just leave it as all the zeros and the 1. It just makes it easier when you're breaking the encryption to keep the file separate. So we have this save file, and this is the file that contains all those Pokemon or eggs in box 1. So now that you have that save file, let's go back to KeySAV. And now we're clicking on the box ripping tab. This is the tab you'll use from now going forward. You'll never need to use box breaker any longer unless you need to break encryption on a different cartridge or a different digital copy of the game. So we're going to open the save. So we have 3 buttons here. Open the save. So we're going to open up that 00001.save. Open the key. So you're going to select the key stream for whatever box you want to check. So in KeySAV, you're limited to checking 1 box at a time. So in this case, I have all those Pokemon in box 1, so I'm going to click key box 1. And then the open blank button, we're going to open up that blank.ekx folder or file. So we have those 3 here. Down here at the bottom, you'll see it should default to box 1. If it doesn't, just make sure it defaults to whatever box you're trying to examine. And remember, in KeySAV, you're limited to box 1 or box 2. In a future video, I'll explain an updated version of KeySAV called Mass Dumper, which allows you to examine the contents of all your boxes at once. So once you have those 3 files loaded, you also have an option for what export method do you want to have a default export method? Do you want to do a Reddit export method or TSV? So for right now, don't worry about these other options. Just leave it as default and click Dump Box. If all is successful, you'll get this message, Successful Dump. And now, if you look in the box at the bottom, you're going to see all the data on your eggs. So I can see this box 1 I filled up with Pancham eggs, and I can see all the IVs here. So let's just go through this piece by piece. So the first piece of data you see here, 1, 1, this tells you what row and column that egg or Pokemon is in. This is very helpful when you're dealing with eggs to know which egg is the correct egg for the stats you're looking at. So 1, 1 means row 1, column 1. Down here, 2, 1 means row 2, column 1. So it's important to keep that in mind. Now obviously we have the Pokemon name what's the gender, what's the nature, ability, and scroll over a little bit, and you'll see here are all the IVs. So HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed. And the very last number in brackets here is the egg shiny value if it's an egg. Now, if anything in your box one was not an egg, it was a hatched Pokemon, you won't see a number here. It'll just end with the, it'll just show you the IVs and no other information. But if it's an egg, you'll see this number in brackets, and that is that egg shiny value, which if you want to hatch these eggs shiny, you need to find somebody which matches that number there. So you can see, so the default method, it just formats it in this format here. So if you want to copy that, if you want to copy that to Notepad or to whatever site you're using, you can do that. Though, and this is what it looks like when you copy it. Pretty straightforward, pretty basic. If you're using Reddit, there's an option to format it specifically for Reddit. So if I go in here to and click the Reddit option and click dump box again, you'll see the same exact information. All the stats are the same, the Pokemon are the same, but the format's a little bit different. It has these pipes separating the fields, and the reason we do that is if we go in, if you copy this export into Reddit, it'll format a very nice looking table for you. So if you're doing a giveaway, for example, or doing any kind of post on Reddit, it's going to automatically format it for you into a table, which is pretty nice. And then the third option down here is TSV. So the default option and the Reddit option allow you to check what is the egg shiny value for my eggs in box one. But let's say maybe you want to see what is the TSV, what's the trainer shiny value for a Pokemon in box one. If you pick TSV and click dump, you get a little bit of a different output here. You can see again, you get that box, that row and column reference. You get to see what Pokemon it is and if it's what the gender is. But then you see what is the original trainer of that Pokemon or egg. And the next number is that trainer's trainer ID. So for me, my trainer name is Olivia, and my trainer ID, if I look on my trainer card, matches 31211. And then this last number is my trainer shiny value. And you'll see, because I bred all these eggs myself, that it's 3058 for all of them. So that's how I can confirm what my trainer shiny value is. If you wanted to check someone else's for them, you would just need to have them trade you a Pokemon which they are the original trainer of. You would put it in box one. Make sure to save twice, do your backup, and load it in here. And that would be that. So that's really it for KeySAV. It's a very basic program, but very helpful. All you do is you load your save file, you load your key string for the box you want to do. So if we wanted to check what was in box 2 now, for example, you would just need to change the key string. Instead of box 1, click box 2. These other two files stay the same, and if I click dump here, you can see I actually don't have anything in box 2 right now, so it comes up invalid. Oh, no, I see why. I picked key string 2 for box 2, but I also need to change box selection here to box 2 and click dump, and now I can see what's in box 2. And remember those 6 Pokemon we mentioned earlier having to be in the top row of box 2, which are still there because I haven't moved them. Now I can see the data on those. But if you had moved different Pokemon or eggs into box 2, you would just need to change the key and then also change the box number to view what's in box 2. That's all I have for this walkthrough. For those of you who are interested in being able to view the data on all of your boxes at once, there's another tool called Mass Dumper from the same creator as KeySAV. And in a future video, I will walk you through that process as well. If there's any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thank you.